Hey everybody, welcome back. Today I want to share with you an article I wrote on my Substack. You can check it out on the link in the description. Follow me on Substack, subscribe to me there, and like and subscribe to this channel as well. Your support goes a long way and it helps keep these videos flowing and growing. But let's get right into it. Now, I wrote about information overload and how it's killing your creativity. And here's how to stop it. Now, no one tells you this about being an artist. You need mental energy to sustain creative practice. That's energy that the world constantly drains from you. And you have to replace it if you expect to create meaningful work. If you're serious about launching your creative journey, you'll need to unplug from the noisy world and get connected to your inner self. And I'm not saying to sell possessions or to live in the wild. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about something more personal and introspective. Now, the world is full of distractions. There's a never ending list of things to do. We're so stimulated from social media, entertainment, news, advertising, that there's barely a moment of stillness during our day. And think about it. All I just mentioned commands your attention from just your phone, which is no further than an arm's reach at any point of the day. And add to that all the thousands of messages you receive via signage, billboards, sales posters, flyers, and any other type of offer or persuasive message that you come across during the day, right? So your mind is constantly receiving messages, and it's constantly receiving message on a conscious and subconscious level. And that's a lot of information. And artists tend to be sensitive to that stimulation they receive. And it's the nature of the creative to parse through all that information, examine and extract the novel ideas to create their work. Now, the problem is when there's too much stimulation and that overload takes place and creativity shuts down. And this can cause anxiety, delay of the execution on a vision. And these events are often referred to as analysis paralysis, resistance, or even imposter syndrome. And you often hear artists name the problem. And sometimes there's a tendency to surrender to these conditions. But I do believe that there is a cure, and it is possible to be as productive as you imagine yourself to be. Artists have to find ways to connect to their soul to create work that's deep and meaningful. And we spend countless hours developing our skills and learning to tell compelling stories. And in order to do that, you have to disconnect from your familiar world and connect to someplace deeper. Now, this requires intentional action. And you have to retreat to a place where you can hear your inner voice and receive directions on how to relay the messages you receive, and um, how to relay it to the rest of the world. Now, some may disagree on what I'm about to say, but when it comes to creating art with passion and feeling and emotion, you won't find the answer in the mind. The fact is, you'll need to bypass your mind and reach your soul and your spirit to express this level of passionate work. Now, I happen to be an artist who is spiritual, and I am a man of faith. And I can testify that faith is not logical. So, when it comes to matters of faith, you have to bypass your mind and you have to access something deeper, or else there'll be resistance. It's like when you have a gut feeling, right? On the surface, it may not make sense, but you know, and you can feel that strong pull for you to do something. And your mind will often say, "This doesn't make sense. It's not logical," and so forth. But you have to remember, the mind always likes to take the path of least resistance. The mind likes to keep you safe. The mind doesn't like you to charter into uncharted territory, because uh, the mind is always going to go with the safest bet. But I can tell you, I have never met an artist who isn't spiritual or who doesn't use spiritual principles in creating their art. And for me, I connect with the higher thoughts of Yahweh through prayer. Now, you can also use meditation, mindfulness, visualization, deep concentration, and uh, any host of other methods to access your vision. But don't worry, you don't have to break out a yoga mat and light candles to do this. You just need to find a way to shut out all the noise that's around you and hear the world inside you. And that could look like a lot of things, like prayer, meditation, all that kind of stuff. Whatever is best for you, that's what you go with. Now, the methods of conducting this, they vary, but the idea is all the same. Unplug yourself and spend time in that unfamiliar void to get the good stuff. You got to get off the grid and go to that cabin in your mind. You got to go to that place in your mind where your soul and your spirit is, and that's where you got to go. And you got to sit alone with your thoughts. And this is where you're going to get clarity and direction in your work. And it happens in giving yourself me time. It's the times of lazy rest, boredom, and my personal favorite, those late afternoon naps. Now, I may be at odds with what productivity coaches teach, but as a lifelong artist, I can honestly say that my best work has always come through rest. And this is why I'm a staunch believer in taking frequent breaks when working. And here's what's important to understand: unplugging yourself has more to do with your mental state than your physical state. And you may not realize it, but if you are an artist with a full time job who dedicates time to your practice after getting home from work, you need to protect the little energy you have left over as much as possible. What most people don't know about the 40-hour work week is that it isn't designed for your benefit at all. And there's studies out there that have revealed that um, lesser hours, like a 4-day week instead of a 5-day week, improves worker productivity and overall employee satisfaction and mood. So your 8 hours a day, not including the time you need for commute, which is also a job, that leaves you with just a few hours of rest, and then you repeat the cycle all over again the next day. Now think about it. When you are recovering from your work week, and I'm saying your weekend, your Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday, right? When you're recovering from your work week on the weekend, it makes things even more challenging to build your own vision. And you wonder why people dread Mondays, right? It's because those 2 days often don't give you enough time to recover. So that's why it's very important. You have to find ways to recharge yourself and protect your energy. And you can do that. Uh, you can do that easily during your day. You just have to be intentional about it. Now, you have to find ways to recharge. So you have to find ways to successfully tend to your practice without feeling burnt out. And I encourage you to know what your body needs and to listen to it. Don't feel guilty protecting yourself from mental overload. Don't feel guilty about that. Take breaks and hold yourself accountable. If you're looking at a computer screen all day, give your eyes some rest, stretch, take a short walk. Do something to preserve your energy and to store energy, and that will be helpful to your creative practice. Making art requires thinking power, and that slowly diminishes by the end of the day. It's not about working harder or consuming more inspiration. It's about protecting your inner space where your ideas and visions are formed. And in a world saturated with noise, distraction, constant mental demand, the artist's greatest responsibility is to unplug, retreat, and reconnect with the spirit and soul. Now, whether through prayer, meditation, rest, or simple quiet, stepping away from the grid will always, always allows you to bypass mental clutter and access the spiritual and intuitive core of your work. Now, especially for working artists navigating the exhaustion of modern life, guarding your mental energy is essential. When you honor rest, embrace solitude, and protect your inner voice, you create the conditions where your most honest, powerful, enduring art can appear. I hope this video touched somebody. If you like this video, please like, comment, and share. And don't forget to subscribe. I love you all. Protect your energy. Go out there, create something beautiful. And I will talk to you all again soon. Yahweh bless.